Hey, Jasmine.
Yes, Nigel.
I bought some shoes from a drug dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I was tripping all day.
So bad. Ugh.
Hi, I'm Nigel Kent,
And I'm Jazmine Starr,
and welcome to Trouble in Paradise.
where we talk about everything amazing, incredible, auspicious, and sometimes absolutely ass-tastic in Southwest Florida.
Absolutely ass-tastic. How does ass-tastic differ from fantastic?
I just think it's more grandiose. Ass-tastic is a great word,
But isn't fantastic also based on the same concept? I mean, fanny-tastic, fantastic, ass-tastic?
but it's more adult.
Oh, it's more adult to say ass-tastic
Yes,
because it's
and
got
it's
a.
it's funner.
Ass isn't even really a dirty word anymore.
I know.
Ass is in the Bible, right? The word
Yes,
ass.
and it's an animal. So what's wrong with saying we could be talking about Dumbo at Disneyland by saying astastic? Like the ride, Dumbo the ride at Disney is absolutely astastic.
Because it's terrible and boring. And it
But
doesn't go
wait a
far off the
second,
ground.
that made no sense at all because Dumbo is an elephant,
Not an ass.
not an
I
ass.
mean, have you ever met Dumbo in person? He may be an ass.
There's a lot of asses out there actually right now.
Yes, there are. Plenty of them.
Yeah, which is kind of why we're doing what we're doing.
So, what are we doing?
Well, we had an idea that it would be a good idea to isolate a little bit this weekend.
Isolate mean like social distancing?
Social
We're
distancing.
practicing some social distancing?
Yeah, so we decided that we would go remote. And here we are. We are glamping and
Are
we
we
are,
are we allowed to say our top secret location? Or
well,
should we reveal that at a later time?
we can reveal it at a later time unless somebody would happen to know where like Doomy Street or Doomy Road.
Doomy.
Was it
I
Doomy
think it's
Road?
Doomy Parkway actually.
I think it was Road.
I don't have the photograph to remind me here, but if you go on Our Kissing Problem on Instagram, you can certainly find that photograph. Doomy is spelled Duhme, and so post a comment if you know what city
Doomy
we're
Road
in.
next. So if you see Doomy next, you'll know maybe where we are.
Yeah. So what we have gone many, many, many hundreds of miles away from Naples, Florida, where we hail, in the name of social distancing.
I love how you are referring to it that way.
Well, I mean, it's for everybody's health and well-being, right? Isn't it best when Nigel and Jasmine are out of Naples? Isn't that best for everybody's health, don't you think?
Well, it depends on if you're essential personnel, if you're out of.
Do you have the coronavirus?
I do not have the coronavirus. God bless you.
I hope I don't have the coronavirus because that was a legit sneeze. Man.
Oh, man.
But the fact of the matter is we are actually camping.
Yes, we are.
It looks pretty fancy what's happening right now, but you have no idea how difficult it is to set up a podcasting rig with video
Exactly.
in a camper, even if it's a nice camper like this. And so, mad props to Gone with the Winds on YouTube. I don't think you know who they are, but they're pretty
No.
awesome. It's this couple, they live in a boat, and they do video podcasts all the time from their boat, from the middle of the ocean. It's pretty sweet.
That is pretty awesome.
And they started with podcasting in their RV. They did it for like 5 years and traveled around the whole country and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sure that their first time, it's just as awkward as anybody's first time together. You know, you're trying to learn the lay of the land and how it works and what doesn't work, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
you kind of figure it out.
I was thinking about you've got 150 to 200 square feet legitimately to deal with in a small RV. Like, there's only so many places you can film inside the rig.
Right.
So, but we have chosen to film this episode in the cockpit, and you can't say cockpit without saying cock. So I hope it turns out really good.
I am. As soon as you said cockpit, I felt the need to relax a little bit more,
Oh,
Nigel.
okay. You know, cockpit is very similar to armpit. So, tell me about this coronavirus. What do you know about it scientifically? Can you give me
That's a loaded question.
well, give me a layman's explanation of what they're telling us about it.
Okay, so essentially um, you have a virus that's been around for many, 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 many years. Coronavirus is nothing new whatsoever.
Oh, this is. Are you telling us what? Are you telling me what they're telling us? Or are you telling?
No, this is a fact. I mean, for years, on the back of a Lysol
So instead
can,
of telling me what they're telling us, you're telling me facts.
I'm telling you facts about the
Good. All right.
coronavirus.
This may
Okay?
be the first place people hear facts about it.
Oh, well, this is hopefully so. Um, hopefully some. All right, so
So what about it? So it's been around
yeah,
for a while.
it's been around for years. I mean, if you look at the back of a Lysol can, it's going to say kills coronavirus. If you look at the back of the Clorox wipes, it kills coronavirus.
So this
It's
thing's
one
been
of
around for a while.
right. So you have a virus that's been around for a while. The difference with this one, um, as with any virus, the RNA inside a virus replicates. So new strains develop every year. Same thing with the flu shot, where people are like, "Well, I got the flu shot, but I still got the flu." Well,
Is that because it's mutating throughout its lifespan and evolving?
well, okay. So every year when they make a flu shot, they are doing their
Don't
best
worry, I muted
guess.
mine.
Thanks. At what the virus is going to potentially be for the year. So scientists are like, they look at the trends, they see where like a flu virus is starting, and then they see what that is, and then they are developing for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months out for the next flu season what potentially is going to be the next virus.
Okay.
So that's what they base it on. So then you get a crapshoot if the scientists get it right, if the flu shot that you receive is going to work or not. And, some years, millions of people get a flu shot, it works great, or it's hit or miss. Some people, if they come in contact with a particular strain, it doesn't work.
Is that because? Oh, it's playing the theme music again. I'm sorry. So I'll edit that. Anyway, so is that because these different vaccines are based on different mutations or different evolvements of the same virus, or are there just many viruses out there, or a
Well, I
combination of
mean,
both?
it's essentially the flu is the flu. Coronavirus is coronavirus.
So this is
What they
something
what
different than influenza.
Absolutely. I was just using that as an example when it comes to the way a virus works and how scientists, whenever they're trying to come up with what medication or vaccination may help solve the issue, um, they're they're just having to base it off whatever mutation is. What's different with this one is the way that this virus is replicating. It's replicating at a very fast rate. And like when I say replicating, I mean the way it mutates. Just like we have DNA in our bodies as humans, viruses have an RNA, and that RNA changes. So this one just happens to be changing.
So
It
what does the
makes it
RNA have to do with treating or counteracting the virus? Like,
Well, they've already seen two mutations that have happened with this virus since it first started in Wuhan. So
do you
every
believe that
time,
it first started in Wuhan?
Are we going to get conspiracy theory here?
Let's just tip a toe in the water. Let's
A
not go all
little
the way
dip.
there.
Okay,
I mean, I
so,
definitely don't want to get you in trouble. Your professional reputation is at stake and so forth.
well, I am just a mere layperson, Jazmine Starr. Um, but I would say that I do feel like there's the potential that some bioengineering could have taken place.
Bioengineering.
Biomedical
What
engineering.
does that mean? Somebody tried to design this thing, maybe. And why
We
would somebody do that?
well, there's many reasons. I mean,
Do we need to take our toe out of the water now?
it depends on how much trouble you want to potentially get
So
into.
what's the idea of social distancing? Why is that considered a valid counteraction or a valid way to?
Okay, I'm gonna take you with on both. I'm gonna take it both ways.
Okay.
Distancing, not distancing. All right.
All right.
And I think, I had the discussion with you a little bit earlier, but for those that may be listening or watching us on YouTube, um, social distancing, you think of it like a bell curve. So if you envision a curve at its peak, and you hope that the peak remains low and that you don't overload the healthcare system.
So a very slight curve.
So you have a low curve, and that curve is going to last longer in duration. So by social distancing, you're keeping people away from one another. Um, the virus is, it's going to take longer for the situation to go away. Unfortunately, that would mean that the longer people are out of work, the greater unfortunately, the economic impacts there are, and we're already seeing,
Let's talk about that when you're done explaining
yep, the curve.
distancing versus not distancing, because I want to come back to the economics of it.
Absolutely. So we'll stick to the health side of it, and then we'll circle back. So you don't overload your healthcare system whenever by distancing. Um,
Or you hope not to.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal, is that you don't have this big influx of patients into a system where potentially, especially with this one, and that's why they are recommending it, is there's not enough. I hate to say it, there's not enough healthcare workers, there's not enough staff, there's not enough ventilators. Um, if people get very ill, and as they've seen in other countries, essentially they have to triage the older population, and it's heartbreaking. Some of the things that we've seen happen in these other countries
Mm-hmm.
where they have to make a decision like, okay, this person is, they're 75, 80 years old. They have comorbid morbid things going on with them too.
So
Perhaps they're
they have other illnesses and they don't have good pulmonary function, and so they're
so
making a choice not to treat them in some cases, right?
so they're doing comfort care. And it's just like, playing the game of craps. You're going to roll the dice, and maybe they get through it, maybe they don't, and save those ventilators and stuff like that for people who they think have a better success rate potentially at
So, but what
fighting
about the
it.
symptomology of
So,
coronavirus? Or
but,
am I steering too hard?
well, I just want to say then, on the reverse side of it, not social distancing, think about it as I talked about before with you, chickenpox. Years ago, when people would get chickenpox before we had the varicella vaccine that we give our children now, or if people choose to vaccinate.
If they choose to.
Yeah,
It's almost
that's
never life-threatening.
that's but yes,
But then you can set yourself up for shingles later in life, right? Yeah, which
absolutely,
is no fun.
absolutely. Um, but we
I
used
wonder
to
what
put.
when they create a vaccine for coronavirus. I wonder what people will be setting themselves up for with that.
Well, I mean, or are they setting themselves up for anything?
I don't know. I
Because I
mean,
mean, the flu shot, you know,
and then people get the same. They get the shot every year. So there's people that have probably had 20 or 25 of these things that,
I have.
well, you kind of have to for work,
Yeah,
right? But do you ever
absolutely.
wonder like what the fuck it's actually doing? Like,
Every time I do it, I worry. You know, I've had coworkers that have had adverse reactions to it. They've gotten them for years. They've never had a problem. 1 year, all of a sudden, they
yeah,
develop like a Bell's palsy or something like that. You know, it's scary.
yeah.
But in our
And they're probably
profession,
sitting there thinking they had a stroke because they're like,
but in our profession, what our main goal is, we're trying to protect those that we're taking care of.
mm-hmm.
Um,
So getting back to, if so, you described the way it works or the way we hope it works if we do social distancing as a
right,
society, and what happens if we don't. That's where you were going, I think.
right. And that's where I was going with the chickenpox virus. Years ago, if somebody's kid had chickenpox, they would almost have a party and they would bring everybody together and everybody gets chickenpox all at the same time. It's a one and
Get rid
done
of it.
typically.
Yep. Close it out.
All the kids have it. It sucks. You run it, through a week or so
So
of really
does
crappiness. The problem, though, is the symptoms that the virus is causing for a lot of people, especially in the older population, or people who have underlying diseases.
so the symptoms are essentially
The
fever and respiratory difficulty, right?
80% of people, some people will have the virus and they won't even realize. The scary part about it is you can have the virus for 2 weeks and have absolutely no clue before you exhibit any symptoms. So in
I've
that,
also heard that some people exhibit no symptoms despite carrying the virus.
absolutely, and
That's
that's
another scary thing.
right. And per one person will infect 8 people with this virus. So,
How do they know that when the sample size is so damn low? Is that, where did you read that? Because I really question the reporting on this.
and why would you question the reporting on that?
Why would I question it?
Yeah.
Because I think that the real virus is the fear virus.
Okay. Well, on the flip side, and
Let's get back to the clinical.
I can't go into too much detail, but
Let me zoom in on you for the limited detail you can go into. Go ahead.
for one patient in particular that comes into a healthcare facility and those symptoms become unknown, or they're not using, healthcare workers aren't aware that the person is positive.
Okay.
Okay.
So they're having respiratory problems and fever, but nobody knows that they're infected.
Right.
Okay.
So that person, and this is based on recent fact of what has happened, and it's no secret, it was in the news. One person, from an admission to 2 days later, was able to expose 38 healthcare workers
In Naples
in
or
Naples.
in
So
Fort Myers.
it was in Naples locate. It
Okay.
was unfortunately, it was there in Naples. It was on the news. And that
So what
just
you're saying
shows
is, though, when
you
the bell curve is very
in
sharp,
2 days that one person potentially, now it doesn't mean that those 38 people all have the virus, but to be safe and to protect the rest of the staff, patients on units, an average nurse has, if they're lucky on a med surg unit, is going to have 5 patients.
okay.
You
So
know,
boil it down for our
okay,
listeners,
so you
please.
take 38 healthcare workers out of the hospital as a precaution for a minimum of 14 days of quarantine while you have a spike in the increase in the number of cases that are coming in. And then you're going to have a shortage of healthcare workers to
Yes,
take
you
care
are.
of them.
Yep.
You're going to have a shortage of appropriate equipment.
So what's the bottom line then? They need to be tested as soon as they walk in?
Well, steps are definitely being put in place. I've heard Lee County already has tents in place. There's drive-through services, which we actually, in our location today, when we were taking a little bike ride, actually got to see one of those little tent drive-through
So in
locations.
our top secret location, we actually saw a VA hospital with
We
a tent
did.
location. And what a
And
tent
we saw
location
some.
is it's a spot where your doctor sends you to get tested because apparently only the test can only be administered by the federal government. They can't be administered by your doctor or by your local lab corp or by your local any place like that. They
It
have to be.
doesn't. No.
Does
You're.
lab can LabCorp test for it?
They can now.
Okay.
They can now
So why aren't they sending people there?
because they don't want to send them through
Because they're
there.
only open there until 3 p.m.
They
every day.
no, it's not that. They they want people. They don't want you to go into your doctor's office. I mean, it can
So
live
they
on a
don't want you. They don't
surface,
want you on an interior space if you're
right? They
infected.
want you isolated. They want
So how does
isolation.
putting you under a tent, isolate you?
Well, it's a drive-through. You pull your car in. Somebody that is knows how to do the testing um, would put on a gown. Um, we wear an N95 respirator mask, which is for airborne precautions. You'd have to wear a face shield for droplet precautions. Droplets, as long as you're within, they're telling us, as long as you have a 6 foot radius between people, though other guidelines say otherwise. Those droplets, you would be safe from those from coughing, sneezing, and that's why anyone who's coughing, sneezing, hand washing is so important. Um,
So this is all stuff that they've been repeating and repeating and repeating, and everybody's heard all this stuff already. So, what's the magic bullet? You're in charge of solving it. What do you do?
what do I do?
Yeah. What do you tell everybody to do to fix it? I mean, I know what I do, but my remedy is a little bit different.
What's your remedy?
My remedy is get on with your life, um, because there's too much damage being done to society as a result of all of the fear mongering and crazy shit.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's it is a slippery slope. I can see it from both sides, but what is happening to humanity right now is the most devastating part of it and heartbreaking for me.
and I would argue that it has less to do with the illness than it does to the
It's fear,
fearful emotional
fear,
reaction to the illness.
fear driven.
Yep. And nobody wants to be the guy that doesn't respond to it the right way. So companies are laying people off left and right. They're down to their last dollars and going out of business. And
Yep.
this is, if anybody thinks this is a joke, it's not. I know 15 people that were just laid off from the same company, which is an extremely successful consulting firm in Southwest Florida that has upwards of 75 employees, or used to, and was just flying high like a kite until 1 week ago when
Right.
they decided to lay off 15 people. And I happen to know that a family member of yours
Hmm.
was just another victim of a layoff due to a corporate bankruptcy, which just happens to coincide with the situation that's going on.
Very true.
So my concern here is that the system is not. There's another system that could stand to be overwhelmed, and that's the financial system.
It's going to happen.
Because
It's going to
if
happen.
if let's say even just 5% of the workforce is laid off as a result of this, which I think is a conservative estimate. Think about the
I think
unemployment
that's,
claims and the strains that are going to exist.
I
They're going to
think,
be printing money again, left and right. And we're
okay.
already starting to see deflationary indicators like the cost of gas going
If
down.
you think that 5% is saying conservative,
Well, then
I
maybe it's 10. But it's bad, right?
it's going to be worse. It is. It's already worse than that.
You know what sucks?
Like I look at all of, you know, I have friends too. I'm also involved in the fitness industry. None of these people can work right now.
Yeah.
And some of these,
Neither can all my musician friends either. They're all out of work. All of them.
right. And if they are like a cash worker, I mean just
So that's my conspiracy theory number 1. If there's a grand scheme to remedy something for the people that run it all, it's that they can now harass the cash contractor. They've figured out a way to put the cash contractor out of work because they want to get their hands on that tax money that they're not getting right now. They want to be able to reach into their pocket when they're making $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a week doing whatever they're doing, whether it's serving or taking cash to work at a gym or performing in a band or whatever it
so
is.
okay, so what happens to these people then after? Once the dust settles from this,
I don't know. They're
what?
either trying to force them into different types of work, different vocations where they have to declare their income, or they're going to try to figure out a way to get their hands on the income that they're making tax free right now.
Well, think about how many people are being essentially I I mean they're being forced into filing unemployment. They're losing their health benefits.
And they're going to lose their homes. So
What's going to
that's
happen?
conspiracy theory number 2 for me.
What's going to happen? You,
So I view this as a huge power shift and shift of wealth and shift of power from the people at large to the people who hold the debt behind the possessions of the people at large. In other
mhm.
words, the debt holders on mortgages, on cars, on campers, on boats, on anything that you would take a loan on, a business loan, SBA loan, college education loan. Uh, so what happens now is that these people lose their jobs. They can no longer they can no longer service their debts and make their payments.
Unless they rely on who?
It doesn't. If they're not paying, they're not paying. So what happens is let's say I've got 30% equity in a $200,000 home. That's $60,000 of equity. That means I have spent out of pocket $60,000 for over the duration of my mortgage. And now all of a sudden I lose my job. I can't make my mortgage payment for 90 days. Guess who gets my house?
Hmm.
The guy that gave me the loan. Plus my 60 grand. Plus, whatever interest and fees and so forth that I paid along the way.
Yep.
And if that happens to the people who have been laid off, which you think conservatively would be north of 10%, that is an incredible shift of wealth away from the people and into the system and to the investors that are counting on these mortgages to pay them back.
Well, when they are talking about the potential of distancing on a scale of greater than 2 weeks, okay, somebody takes what's different than a 2 week vacation? But then you move it and you're like, okay, people, we're going to need you to.
Yeah, but nobody takes the massive, widespread, industry-wide vacations of 2 weeks don't happen all at the same time.
Right.
It's terrible. I mean,
And there's a
it's
lot of
terrible.
people that don't even have that kind of time available. So many of these people are taking it unpaid. So then you say, okay, so we're not going to do that. We're going to need you to stay home for a month now.
Well, I mean, they're just
And
going to start
then
firing
you have
people.
paycheck to paycheck people. And we're not even talking about like even firing people. Paycheck to paycheck people are going
They're
to
not going to be
have
able
to
to miss it.
they are going to be dependent on filing.
Most of my professional friends in Cleveland are cash contractors that are performing musicians. They're professional musicians that go in and they play for, you know, 150 to $300 a night per person, and that's how much they earn.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that three, four, some the really good ones, really busy ones, maybe 5 nights a week. Now you take that cash money away from them, and they can do absolutely nothing. That is their income. That's their livelihood. That's how they feed their kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they pay their mortgage payments. That's how they pay for their cars. That's how they get around town. And they've all been all of the and this has also happened in Florida now too. So we
Mm-hmm.
talk about the Viagra Triangle. You know, those bands, they're making, $700 to $1,000 a night to play at Blue Martini. They're not playing anymore.
No, I know
So
I
that's 100 to $200 a person
right.
that they don't have times 3 nights a week, $600 max per person per week.
Good friend of mine.
That's $2,400 a month that
Good
they're not earning.
good friend of mine. Comedian, singer. She
Is
is
she ever going to be on the podcast?
she is. Group
Okay.
fitness.
Why aren't we pimping her right now?
Well, I absolutely have no problem pimping her out right
Well,
now.
then what's her name on Instagram?
Stacy Steele
And
13.
that's Steele with an E, right? And
Steele.
and Stacy is Stacey.
Yes.
Steele with an E, 13 on Instagram. Check her out. She's a lot
Yes.
of fun.
She has a lot of fun. I just somebody that's in a profession like that, they rely on these clubs and they're working out of theaters, bars, clubs, um, remaining open on the side. I mean, this woman, she works so hard. She's a personal trainer. She works with elderly people, and doing group fitness
Well, good luck
classes.
getting into a senior
And
community at this point.
but that's the whole thing. She has not, nothing that she does, she is able to do now
Yeah.
during this time. And until, like, it's just like a lot of other Americans, it's like, hold on to your hat, and let's see when we can finally get some work. And you just, you're at the mercy of everything, not just a virus. You're at the mercy of
Well, you're at the
the
mercy of the
powers
politicians.
the powers that be that say you can go back to work now. I
Yeah.
do have to, like, I want to give props to a company though. Honestly, I read an article. I hope this is true because I did see Best Buy was paying their employees during the time that they had to stay home. And I really wish that some of these companies, I understand, like, this is hitting small businesses so hard too. That's another whole other thing. But some of these big, large corporations that, have the money, it's like I have a lot of respect for them for doing that. Um, I wish other companies would follow suit and help out some people, because that's the
Companies have to have money in the bank, though, and that's the problem. A lot of people don't realize that some of these business models run so close to uh, a net zero cash flow that they take profit every single month,
yeah.
and they have shareholders to pay, and they have vendors to pay, and you know everybody's bitches about big corporations and all this profit that they make and so forth and so on, but there's cash realities to every single business that's out there. Small businesses,
Yeah.
it's even more so for them. So we talk one thing. It's one thing to talk about Best Buy paying their employees to not
Right.
work, but not every business can do that. A
No,
mom and pop business definitely can't do that.
absolutely not. And that's why I'm saying though, you know, I do hope it's true, and I do hope that more companies, if that's the case, that and they're in that position, that they would follow suit and help out and at least minimize some of the impact that this is having on
You know,
families.
Best Buy also, for what it's worth, is not an extraordinarily profitable business. In fact, they almost went bankrupt a couple years ago, and only
And hey,
recently.
maybe this will bankrupt them too, but guess what? I have a lot of respect for anybody that is willing to stand up and protect their employees as best as they can, because it's a damn fucking shame what's going on right now for a
Well,
lot of people.
and it helps you understand who the power brokers are in public companies and who the power brokers aren't. You think about a company like Best Buy, which is paying people not to work, versus a local company in Southwest Florida, which just laid off 15 people because they can't apparently afford to pay people not to work in order to live and fight another day in a few weeks or a few months. And man, I hope it's only a few weeks. You know what else
Yeah.
I hope? I hope Texas Roadhouse gets a drive-through before this is all done with.
Not that kind of drive through.
No, not that kind of drive-through. A drive-through where you can pick up your dinner. Because driving through Texas Roadhouse is apparently something that this is another COVID response. Now, Texas Roadhouse is
Yeah.
not available on Bite Squad, is
Well,
not available on
let's
Uber Eats.
yeah, let's just kind of talk about our day and how it went. You know, we went for a great bike ride today. Um,
You're
that's
going
a
chronological on me.
I am.
Well,
You
then we
know,
might as well start when we woke up.
when we woke up and Nigel pimped my bike for me, which was absolutely like 100%. Um, I he put unicorns on my helmet. He totally pimped my bike, but I have where your little water holder is. He put a um, JBL speaker, Bluetooth speaker, right in there and everything.
So now you
And
have a sound system on your bicycle, a battery-powered Bluetooth sound system, so you can
yes,
get down when you ride.
I yes, I like. Did you
So what?
hear me? I was even doing a little bit of that.
Well,
Yes.
what were you playing today while we were riding on your
Z-
new sound system
Well,
with your bump in the trunk?
I was playing like a lot of stuff, but particularly like my Zumba music. I love to Zumba, and I can't wait to get back to it. So I
How
think
do we promote your Zumba instructing on the podcast without giving away your true identity?
well,
I mean, not that your true identity isn't Jazmine Starr, but you know, my name's not really Nigel either. I practice social distancing with my name.
yeah.
I prefer to
I,
be socially distant, actually.
no, I just Zumba. Yeah, I love Zumba, and it's
How about all these millennials that want to sit in their bedrooms all day long and play video games and build stuff on Minecraft? Like,
you know what?
they love this, right? Social distancing.
They don't
Social
even
distancing.
they don't even know like anything's going on. Like the millennials, they're like the only thing that's affecting them is the fact that they can't like go like well no shit you can go through Starbucks. I mean, I was gonna say
Do
like
they even do that? Don't they
anything.
just get Uber to bring it to them?
Well, I mine is starting to do that now with
Starting to figure out that it's worth paying the extra $8 for your coffee
for like DoorDash
to have somebody who's 15 years older than you bring it to you in their car because they have a car
no, I mean
and a license.
they I have a car and a license. I know who you're referring to. If my son ever decides to watch this, get your permit,
Well,
please.
you know he subscribes, so. Um, but you know, speaking of cars, I decided today that since we came all the way up here to the secret location,
Yeah.
way, way up north, many, many, many miles north of Naples, that, we don't have a car with us.
No.
And we
So
can't
we
just
had
drive
to.
around.
And what we did notice, and I'm sure by the time we get home, it'll be in Lee, Collier County will have followed suit with what's going on in Pinellas County is
Wait, did you just give away our secret location?
oh my gosh, I just said the county. Nobody really knows where in the county
There's
we
like
are.
one city in Pinellas County. Really, there's like literally like one city here.
Oh, come on. If they look up Doomy Street or Road, they're going to find out where we are anyway. But that's beside the point. So,
Boy, I'll say.
when we're fixing my hair. Now we're both infected. We just touched our faces.
Okay, that's how it happens, just like that.
Just like that.
Are you still going to make out with me later?
Absolutely.
Fine. Go ahead with your story.
Who else am I going to hold hands with?
That's true. You are a really good hand holder.
Yeah. Sometimes we touch noses too.
Well, yeah, Eskimo kisses. Yeah. You know why they do that, right?
Why Eskimos kiss?
Why they touch noses instead of touching mouths?
No.
Because they'll get frozen together at the lips.
Nuh-uh.
Yaha.
Then why would their noses not get frozen together?
Because their noses don't have liquid on the outside of them.
Really? If I were up north in the cold, I fucking guarantee you I would have...
Well, you would have liquid under your nostrils, but not up here on the top of your nose where Eskimos kiss.
Well, just...
Oh my goodness, Jazmine Starr.
Test me.
Come on, act like you've been there.
Test me and find out.
If a child refuses to sleep during nap time, are they guilty of resisting arrest? So, tonight, in Pinellas County, which for all of you frickin' people in Broward County is a county that is in Florida, somewhat north and west of where you live.
West?
In Pinellas County, we had to eat, right? We had to get our hands on some scrumptious victuals.
Yes.
And so, being without a car, we decided that I was going to ride my bicycle to pick up dinner from Texas Roadhouse tonight.
Yes.
And we ended up with a...
Well, first we tried Uber
Eats, which doesn't do Texas Roadhouse.
DoorDash.
Yep.
And Bite Squad. And nobody... I didn't try Grubhub. I've never tried that. But nobody delivered Texas Roadhouse. So it was up to Nigel to go and pick it up.
So I had to venture forth on my trusty Fuji bicycle.
With your Cali protective helmet on.
Yes, which I have also equipped with a special junk in the trunk milk crate style attachment that allows me to carry things around on the rear of my bicycle.
That sounds ass-tastic.
It was an ass-tastic time. So I rode my bicycle to the Texas Roadhouse. And it was bizarre. The Texas Roadhouse, nobody was allowed inside except for employees, of which I estimate there were approximately 4 working there tonight.
I was going to ask you, like, how many people did you see?
Well, I sat in the parking lot waiting for our order, which you had previously phoned in, for a good at least 25 minutes.
So, just real quick, because we realized that they were open on our ride. Was that a woman that was a employee that was essentially like a sign spinner? Like being like...
Yeah, I
or
think
she
so.
had flags or something.
Well,
it was very odd, but
yeah, she was waving people in, trying to flag them down to come get some Texas
but like
Roadhouse.
with literal flags, right?
Because it was dead. I mean, I've never seen Texas Roadhouse so dead. And if you've ever been to Texas Roadhouse, it's like a good, cheap, salty steak. Like, it's $20 entree, right? You don't get that from a prime steakhouse. Like, it's good. If you want a steak on a budget, you go to Texas Roadhouse, right?
Or on a bike.
Or on a bike. But the point is, the place is always busy. It's always busy at Texas Roadhouse. It's
Right.
never been slow, right? So, and that counts all three Texas roadhouses that I've ever been to. But it was not busy today. Not busy in the slightest. There was me, uh, a lady in a Toyota Corolla with her windows rolled up all the way.
Really?
Yep. And that was it.
Wow.
Waiting for to pick up our dinners.
What spot was she in? Because I know you were assigned when I called spot number 2.
Yes. So all the spots were labeled in chalk. They got chalk and wrote the spot numbers so that people would know where to park to make sure they didn't come inside and congregate and do something other than social distancing. Um,
Right.
so yes, I parked in chalk labeled spot number 2, and I think she was in chalk labeled spot number 8 or 9. And between us, there was a bunch of empty spots. And then there was a family that walked up, and I suspect that they were over at the Walmart. And I saw like a Class C RV over at the Walmart too, and I
Uh
think they
huh.
may have just unloaded from that. Because a lot of people, when they travel across the country in RVs, they'll just stay overnight in a Walmart parking lot. I guess
Yeah.
Walmart lets people do that. So I think they just walked over, and they walked up to the little tent where the flag lady was that you just described, along with the.
Did she freak out by any chance?
No, she
I'm
didn't.
just.
She didn't freak out.
That's good to know
And there was
because
also a armadillo, a person dressed as the Texas Roadhouse armadillo mascot.
no.
Yes, I did not take a picture because I did not want to dignify it. But as I was leaving on my bike, fast forward to after I paid the bill and loaded up all the food in the crate, blah, blah,
Thank you for
blah.
dinner, by the
You're
way.
welcome. As I was riding away on my bike, I went to hand the bag that they gave me back to the lady with the flags because I didn't need it because I had the crate. And the armadillo was like, "Have a good night, man." It was just some dude. I mean, it didn't. He wasn't even trying to be a mascot.
Could you please do it in that voice one more time?
Have a good night, man. I mean, you know how like most mascots are just like, and they like extra pantomime and.
My second ex-husband was Noodles the chicken when he was younger at Chick-fil-A. He used to have to wear the cow costume or whatever. And
Having met your second ex-husband, I can see how that would work. That's excellent. I'm not going to say anything more. We're going to let that one be. So,
I love it.
so what were your impressions of? We might as well say our top secret location since we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready to bash it, right? But
Why are we gonna bash?
well, I don't know. It's kind of crummy, right? Don't you feel like it's a little bit crummy here?
It is, but
Is it
we're
any crummier than it is crummier than Bonita and Naples and stuff?
well, we're in like the sheltered part of. I'm sorry. Anyone that lives where we live, we are sheltered.
What do you mean sheltered?
We have beautiful medians.
That's true. There's palm trees and beautiful grass. Yeah, yeah.
Like you as soon as you go out of even north.
North of the Collier County line to Lee County, and things
No,
just change.
well, Bonita has done a lot to make that beautiful. All the way up through Coconut, and then it starts to transition once you get past Coconut
Well,
slowly.
that's Lee County. That's what I'm saying. Once you pass Coconut Point, you're in Lee County at that point.
You're in Lee County at the Bonita Beach Road. Actually, before that, right before that is the Lee Collier line.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know what county you think you live in, but
I don't live in Collier County.
oh, okay,
I know that.
okay.
But there is this weird thing called Coconut Road where there's a division between Estero and Bonita Springs. And because Bonita Springs is half in Collier and half in Lee, but not a line of half and half, there's actually sections of Bonita that are.
I know. The Collier's the same way. The city of Naples is has a bizarre layout too. What they consider like the Naples Police Department district versus what is Collier County's
Oh, the
district.
Naples Police Department district is just the. Don't get me started. I can't. It's okay. They beat up. They beat up one of my favorite people on planet Earth, and I just don't want to talk about it. We need to move on.
Are
We need to
you
move on.
talking
We're
about
moving on from it. We're
are
gonna
you
move on.
talking about the time that I got caught by them
No,
naked on the
you
pier?
didn't. You didn't get beat up. This is
Like legit.
that.
Uh,
I'm glad you were informed by that experience in your life. Okay, but somebody very near and dear to me got beat up by the Naples PD, and I don't want to talk about it. Can we please move on?
moving on.
Okay. What were you saying?
I don't know now.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a subject. The fall of the Roman Empire. Go.
Isn't that the game that you play when you go to the bathroom?
The fall of the Roman Empire. What? No, I play swords when I go to the bathroom.
Swords.
Yeah, swords.
No, don't say that.
Why not? What's wrong with swords? What's that look for?
Boys do not say they play swords when they go to the
No, I
bathroom.
play swords by myself, man. It's like me and the training ball. Like in Star Wars, you know the training ball in Star Wars? That's like and my laser sword. That's it. Solo. There's only one sword. And that's fine, right?
Yes.
Because everybody wants to play with just one sword.
I. Moving
Jazmine
on.
has been rendered speechless, ladies and gentlemen.
I have nothing.
So, what did you think about your experience here in coastal Pinellas County, Florida? How does it differ from back home?
Um, it's it's a bit more urban.
What does
Um,
that mean to you?
like just the
Because
setup.
it's a lot less Hispanic and a lot less colorful.
There's a lot of white people here.
There's a ton of white people here. So, what do you mean more urban? Because that's always
Like
meant something.
the lay of the land. Like, we don't have those curly Q like overpasses and stuff like that we are riding our bikes over and everything
Curly
today.
Q overpasses,
I
yes.
don't know what you would call that, but if you look at our Strava thing, you'll see like big loops and everything.
Yeah,
We
when
don't
you say
have
Strava,
those.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We don't have those.
As you were saying, yeah, it's very urban. Yes.
Just we don't have overpasses and stuff like that.
No, we don't. We don't have overpasses.
Well, we do, but they're not with pedestrian
Yeah, we don't
crossing.
have pedestrian overpasses because if there's one thing I know about Collier County is that they don't give a fucking shit about anybody on their feet or on a damn bicycle.
This is true.
Because 7 to 10 people every single year on a bicycle get killed in Collier County, which is the highest in Florida.
Yeah.
And it's the same number for people on foot. Because we don't have things like little bridges that you can walk
Yeah.
across the road instead of getting run down by a little old
Yeah.
lady who can't see.
But aside from that,
Will the coronavirus fix any of that?
what attracted a
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's terrible.
aside from all of that, though, what attracted us to come here was this incredible. How long is this Pinellas
So
Trail?
the Pinellas Bicycle Trail is very, very long. And by very long, I mean
Forty-two
like,
point six miles or something like that. Am I
yes, it's
right?
very quite lengthy, yes. It's longer than anything that we have down there.
Right.
Except for maybe the stuff that's in our imagination right now.
Yeah.
Like the Paradise Coast Trail, which is supposed to be a bicycle trail that is going to be built in the next several years, which
You
will be
know,
70
but
some miles long. But this probably isn't the longest one in Florida, but it's got to be close, and it's great because it's like 16 feet wide. There's nothing but cyclists, and we saw a rollerblade rider on there
it's
today.
absolutely amazing, and it's something like, you know,
Saw a runner.
if there's anything that we should be putting our tax money into for the county is something like this down there.
Yep.
Like, I mean,
And not just tax money.
I
If
know
we
you're
waited for the government to do this Paradise Coast Trail
yeah.
project, it would never happen.
No, I know
Because the
that.
people the majority of people who pay taxes down there, the constituency in Collier County, they don't give a shit. Most of
Right.
them do not give a shit, man. All they care about is more lanes, get me to the restaurant faster. It's 9 a.m. I need to start drinking now so I can get to bed by 7 p.m.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, it's awful. And so the infrastructure for the people who work in vocations that serve that demographic. People who work at hotels and restaurants and hospitals,
Yep.
um, they're basically stuck with terrible infrastructure as a result.
Mhm.
And they, anyway,
I
don't get
do
me
have
started.
to say, like, um, in comparison, because cycling is something that's very new for me. I know you've been doing it for a very long time, but I felt a huge difference in the way cyclists are seen and respected here versus the way it is at home.
Yeah.
You know, like I think they're used to the fact that this trail is here, and that
There's a lot of cyclists out.
there were a lot of people out.
Yeah. I
You
mean, we
know,
probably saw.
we're not talking like exactly the weekend yet. I mean, by the time we got out,
Oh,
people.
tomorrow it's going to be mad. I can't wait to ride tomorrow. There's going to be there's going to be thousands of people out tomorrow.
I think it'll be really cool though to see, and also to see that if we had something like that in the county, just what an amazing impact it would have. I think we need it for our health, and
Yeah.
that's one of the other things that like
It's for sanity management too. Like
I've
you
tried
get
to
on your bike in order to stay sane. A lot of people
well,
do that.
and that's with anything with fitness, really. But, I have to definitely say and give merit to the fact that um, getting out, being out with the air in your face, the breeze, the sunlight, all of that makes a difference. And I'm really hoping that that's something that helps keep us healthy,
Yeah.
you know? Um,
Well, you
and
said it yourself. The virus doesn't spread as quickly outdoors as it does indoors because people apparently share more air when they're inside. And if
well,
somebody sneezes on a doorknob and then you touch the doorknob,
Well, there was the miraculous study of the Spanish influenza where people were dying from that left and right, and they housed people in tents. And then the doctors decided that they would start to move the people out of the tents. And these were the very, very sick cases. And they were like, let's just see what happens. We're going to put them out in the sunlight and see if that helps them.
mm-hmm.
And you put them out in the fresh air and the sunlight, and these people recovered. So, people, get outside, move,
Yep.
exercise,
Yep.
be active. You can still
And there's
practice.
no excuse not to now. You can't go to work. You can't go to school. Everybody's stuck at home. So you get on your bicycle. Get your running shoes on. Get your rollerblades
Yes.
on. Go to.
Take your family out. Get them out of the house.
Yep.
Get these kids off of the freaking technology.
Yep.
Get them outdoors. You
So,
know?
and keep them out of trouble, which is what we're all about here at Trouble in Paradise. And even though we are somewhat north of Paradise tonight, we have still managed, despite everything that's going on, to stay out of trouble. And that's what we'd like for all of you. Thank you for listening and watching us today or tonight or tomorrow or whenever it is for you. And good night. How do you turn this thing off, Jazmine?
I don't know.